My 16-year-old son uses his phone to text his friends, download YouTube videos, and check his account on something called Tumblr, whatever that is. When I was his age, phones were attached to the walls, and people used them to talk to each other. When I tell him that, he just rolls his eyes and says, "Yeah, Dad, those were olden times." Hi, I'm Marshall Essig, Senior Credit Officer in CoBank's Communications Banking Group. And you know what? My son's right. Times have changed. Phones have changed. In fact, the entire telecommunications industry has changed radically since Congress enacted the Telecommunications Act of 1996, nearly 20 years ago. Back then, in olden times, the phone company was a regulated monopoly. Each company served a specific geographic area, either urban or rural, distinctions that are now becoming blurred. Each one owned all the network infrastructure it needed to provide voice service to its customers. And voice service was the only service it provided. It's the only service there was. No one worried about competition, because there wasn't any. Answering machines and cordless phones were about the only new technology there was. Since then, deregulation has unleashed competitive market forces, and new technologies have changed the way that we communicate. These new technologies include wireless telephony and the adoption of the internet for civilian use. At the same time, fiber optic cables began replacing old-fashioned copper wires at the physical layer of the networks. Deregulation and new technology brought in new companies like CLEC, cell phone carriers, and even cable companies that could now compete to offer products directly to end users. And new types of companies sprang up to invest in network infrastructure, like fiber optic lines and data centers that used to be owned exclusively by the phone company. More recently, the rapid increase in demand for data communications means that high-speed broadband access to the internet is no longer a luxury. It's now a necessity. Unfortunately, rural areas have lagged their urban counterparts when it comes to deploying this critical technology. Rural areas face unique challenges due to demographics, population density, and often simply difficult operating conditions. This digital divide puts small towns and rural communities at a disadvantage when competing for job-creating industries. It puts students in these areas at a disadvantage when it comes to accessing modern educational and training materials. And the Veterans Administration has noted that lack of broadband access limits its ability to provide modern telemedicine services to veterans of America's armed forces, many of whom live in rural areas. CoBank is uniquely positioned to help rural America bridge this digital divide. Our deep roots in rural America mean that we understand the unique challenges and opportunities facing companies doing business there, as well as rural America's critical role in the world economy and its importance to the American way of life. Meanwhile, we've built up and maintained a high level of expertise in the telecommunications lending market. We do this by continuing to engage with companies large and small across various segments of this dynamic and rapidly changing industry. This enables CoBank to finance the investments that bring the benefits of modern broadband connectivity to small towns and communities across rural America. For more information about CoBank's role in financing the telecommunications industry, please visit our website at www.cobank.com and download our report, Bridging the Rural-Urban Digital Divide.